Welcome to the Ethical Affiliate, the podcast that's all about living life on your own terms through the exciting world of ethical affiliate marketing. I'm your host, Ida.
And I'm Tim.
And in each episode, we'll be exploring the possibilities, strategies, and mindset shifts that can empower you to build a business that aligns with your values and allows you to design the life you've always dreamed of.
Join us as we share our journey and hear from industry experts and successful affiliate marketers who have embraced this new approach to business. Discover the strategies they use to navigate the ever-evolving digital landscape, build sustainable income streams, and most importantly, live life on their own terms.
So buckle up and get ready for a journey into the world of ethical affiliate marketing. This is the Ethical Affiliate, where we believe that living life on your own terms is not just a dream, it's a reality waiting to be created. Thanks for joining us, and let's dive in. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Ethical Affiliate. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't believe that we're doing episode 2. I'm so excited. How are you going, Tim?
I'm really well and just as excited as you are.
It's so fantastic. How's your week been?
It's been really good, really good. Very hot again, but that's what Perth's like. 6 months of it.
What you been up to?
I've been doing my day job, and then while I'm doing my day job, listening to lots of YouTube videos about marketing and business and so on, and planning my week and doing some posts and reels and things like that.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Well, I've had a pretty busy week as well. A couple of ups and downs. Today we're going to talk about mindset, so I'll probably go into that once we get into that discussion. But I've had a really good week. Started off a little bit flat, but you know the beauty about working in this business paradigm is that on the days that I'm not feeling 100%, I can actually take the time to take care of myself and do for myself what I need to do to keep moving forward, and I don't need to ask permission. So that was a big relief because I really wasn't feeling well earlier on in the week. And I was, thankfully I was still able to get through the things that I wanted to get through. But all in all, I would say it was a win. I went looking at houses because I plan on buying my dream house very soon. And I found the house that I'm looking for. So that was amazing. And just chipping away at my business day by day, doing web classes and webinars, getting lots of leads. So yeah, it's all very exciting.
It's interesting you talk about mindset because it's and we will go into that further, but I guess during the week, because of the temperature here and also some other things that's been going on, I do house sitting, as you know, so moving around a little bit, and that's always a little bit upsetting to the routine. So it's an interesting challenge while I'm growing my business to maintain a rough approximation of a daily method of operation. And so have to pack up things and move to another location and then spread yourself out here as well while going, okay, today I need to do some posts, or I want to do some posts. I need to do some videos, and just bring the whole kit back together again and set up my laptop and everything else and continue on. So it's like, and why I'm talking about mindset in that way is that it's easy to fall into a trap of berating yourself and going, oh, I haven't done something today and it's been 2 days. But realize that, take a longer term view of that and know that actually you are on target. And the beauty of exactly this business is to be able to get back on track fairly easily and continue without completely a loss. So yeah, it's interesting to reflect on the week in that way.
Yeah, and look, I love that. I mean, here you are, someone that is house sitting, you're very mobile, and yet you're still able to conduct your business through that. I mean, if worst comes to worst, we can actually conduct business on our phone, so that is how flexible this industry is. So as challenging as what it is, I imagine it would be a relief, and I know I would feel relief knowing that I don't have to answer to anybody with respect to where I'm at with my work, because I get to choose how and when I do that. And that's real control, and I love that. And I cannot imagine going backwards. I can't imagine working for anybody else. Those days for me are well and truly over.
Me also. Yeah, I think that I totally agree with that. I've only ever worked for a couple of people in very short parts of my life, and to go back to that, I just, you know, I kind of joke about it. I guess I'm unemployable in that respect, and you would be too, no doubt. And
100%.
you're so used to running things your own way, for better, for worse. And sometimes that, can say the worst. You're working for the worst boss ever now, but at least you are in control. And as we do, we learn how to be better, become better bosses of ourselves. And that's, a lot of it is about that. And that's why I love this journey, because it's about personal development and getting better at what you do.
That's right. And it really kind of centers around self-management. And look, it's taken me a while to wrap my head around the fact that I need to think differently, So I've been working in normal jobs apart from being a musician for many years and singing and starving. I worked for other people since I was 16. So my mindset was very much in that vein. But this has actually allowed me to really kind of open up my eyes to what's possible. And it's been a real transition. I remember when I first started, the anxiety I felt about whether or not I could do this, am I capable, you know, and also being triggered by other people's successes in this business. And I think, why haven't I? But one thing that I love, and I cannot stress this enough, is when I actually talk to my community about my concerns, I realize that we're all in the same boat and we all start from somewhere. We all have those fears, we all have those challenges, and it's just going to take time for us to adapt to this new way of doing business and living our lives. And also for me personally, it's that personal accountability that's been a game changer. But that's not something that came naturally to me. Not saying that I've never been personally accountable, but when you're running your own business and you've got to front up for yourself, it takes on a whole new meaning. So I really needed to do a lot of self-reflection. And for me, that is an ongoing journey. And I had to talk my way through those valleys of despair because, with anything that you take on in life, you go through the valley of despair. Well, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I go through those dips. And to finally be in a place where not only am I encouraged to reflect inwardly, show myself some kindness, some care, and be personally accountable in a way that doesn't shame me, it's essential. It's essential in order for moving forward in this business, right? Because when I get online and when I'm talking, I am being myself. I'm being authentic and true to who I am and sharing this journey. And what I love is feeling that growth, and it can be really uncomfortable at times, right? But it's like shedding your skin. When you grow, you shed your skin, and that can be really scary. But with the right tools and the right support, you manage to make your way through. And when you get to the other side, you've just got that little bit more stronger. And the feeling of satisfaction that I get from getting through those challenges and not giving up is what drives me forward. And it's those very things that I get to share with other people, right? So people that join me on my journey, I get to share that with them and it encourages them. So it's kind of really life-changing from the inside out. And there's lots of material out there that can really, really help with that. For me, again, not sponsored, but Audible has saved my hide with all these amazing books that I've been listening to and lots of exercises, yeah.
So in your journey of working for someone else, you mentioned before about a newfound way of managing your own life and your own destiny. And so, what's a really good tool, or what's probably the thing that's changed the most for you? That's gone from, because that's a huge transition, and people come out of employment where everything is pretty well laid out for them, even if they're very high up. There's boards of directors, forming a structure. This is what we need to do. This is what we're moving towards. And often with affiliate marketing, but any business where you're running it yourself, you're just out there. in what I refer to sometimes as a sea of nothingness. And yeah, maybe despair or not, but it's also like, well, okay, no one's going to save me. No one's going to give me too much of a structure. And yeah, granted, we have programs which show us the steps, but you could also just lie in bed all day. So what's the one thing, or one or two things that you found really powerful for you to take control of your life in that respect?
Okay. So first thing was making the choice, right? Until I made the choice that I was going to move forward with this, I would keep reverting back to my old habits. Now, firstly, I made the choice, and then with the business platform that I'm in, there is such a wonderful library of resources, and there is a very, very clear path for you to follow when it comes to working on not only just to run your business, but when it comes to working on your mindset. And one of the first things I'd learned when I embarked on this, what that is, it is 80% mindset, 20% strategy, right? Because the only thing really that stops us from moving forward is us and our mindset. So once we, and it's a journey. So once I decided that, I got to the stage where I'd hit a wall in life and thought, I can't keep moving down the road that I'm going, because it's going to, my soul is dying. So once I realized that I couldn't actually go down that path, I made something kind of shifted in me, and I decided that I needed to just make a commitment to myself and recommit to my journey every single day. And, there have been times, and I'm going to be really transparent here, where I have been, I think I mentioned I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but one of my biggest challenges in life has been dealing with anxiety and depression. Now, I know I'm not alone. I know that there are a lot of people out there, but just last week, I had a really tough, it had been actually a tough couple of weeks, because I'd recently lost a really, really good friend, and it really threw my whole life into a bit of turmoil. But, the thing that really got me was when I was in the depths of that despair, I reminded myself that right at that point was where I could either keep going and let this move through me, or give up, right? And normally in the past, that wouldn't even enter my mind. And I would just fall apart in a heap and then wouldn't know what to do. And I'd just be lost. Whereas now, right, as a result of doing the work that is set out in the business platform, listening to the audio books on a daily basis, making the choice to believe that I'm capable, that has led to me being able to really catch myself when I'm in those dark moments and pull myself out of it, and for me, that has been the most profound change so far since embarking on this. But it all started with a choice. I made the choice, and it's not like I made the choice and bang, it's all good. I made the choice on a daily basis. I had to, because for the last 50 odd years, I've been making another choice. So I can't really expect myself to suddenly change my mind and everything's all roses. It's not. It's actually, this is my pathway. And again, it's akin to, driving a car with, dodgy steering. It's going to take a while until my steering gets fixed for me to, to keep steering my thought process and patterns into the direction that I want to go. So it's a work in progress. But when I look at myself now and I compare myself to it's been not even 6 months since I started in this business, I'm a completely different person. I still have my ups and downs, but they don't last as long, and I manage them so much better. So instead of, really berating myself, I accept the fact that those really tough feelings are there, and I do the best that I can to take good physical care of myself and allow myself to rest, and also hold myself accountable and know that, it's getting to know when to take that aligned action to move yourself forward, because sometimes taking aligned action means allowing yourself to rest in bed for the day because you really need that. So yeah, so that's been the biggest thing for me.
That's really interesting because, as you know, I've done some interviews with some other people in the business on another channel, and the one consistent thing, and they're people who are just starting or are very successful, and the one thing that keeps coming up, and I'm now repeating this ad nauseum, is that you just keep going. You just got to keep going, just keep going. But you've outlined something really interesting there in a mindset thing, is that the belief that you are capable. And I'm
Yes.
curious because that's the thing that gets you out of bed or even allows you to stay the day in bed, which we keep referring back to, but is the thing that will get you out of bed eventually, that you know you can do this. And so I'm curious to how someone would actually get that belief that they're capable, because we've grown up with so many negative comments, parents, caregivers, schools, education, government, the whole thing that, you're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has this. I've had it. So I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I've heard this so many times. Everyone has their own version of it. Money doesn't grow on trees. You couldn't possibly do that. I mean, as you're an artist, I've dabbled in art, and one thing I learned, well, several things at school, was that I was told I could never do any art. I was useless. And my best friend was a great artist. He could just draw anything at a young age. It was like just incredible. I didn't have that natural talent, but I've since learned, and the same thing with mathematics, which I failed dismally at school all the way through, that once I got out of school, and this doesn't say much about my education or the education system, I've become quite good at those things. And so that's what's boosted my confidence in myself, that I know, and this sounds egotistical, but I know that I could probably turn my hand to most things because I've done things that I did not think I could do. And so now I have a stronger belief in myself that, okay, and I've done this a few years ago, pick up a paintbrush and some acrylic paints and a canvas and start going and think that's disgusting. And then after a short time, it's starting to we'll go, oh, that's okay. And I just keep going. And so it's almost those little steps and wins where you really need to acknowledge that you're actually, maybe you can do this with training and tuition and go to a class or two or whatever it is. And goodness knows there's so much information nowadays on YouTube, for example, on how to master something, for want of a better words. And I'm holding up my fingers there for people who are just listening to the audio, that you can do just about anything. So it's that belief in yourself, belief that you're capable of doing something going forward that literally gets you out of bed and go, yeah, okay, I'll just keep going and do another post or a reel or learn something in my business. So, the fact that you go to, we've got a great platform, but there's something that allows you to go to the platform or will get you to the platform. Otherwise, you could just ignore it and go off and do nothing.
Yeah, look, belief in yourself is the starting point, I think. Now, obviously, it's not a magic wand solution where you just wake up one morning and go, yes, I can do anything and I believe in myself. And it is a choice that you make on a daily basis. But what I've found is the more times I make that choice, the more normal it becomes. And before I know it, I think, oh, actually, I don't have that doubt, as it's not as prominent. It might rise up from time to time. But I think because, that's the first step, is having that self-belief. And the second step is actually taking some aligned action. And that looks different for everybody, really. So I think the main thing in all of this is to remind yourself that each step is a step forward. As long as you keep on striving to do better, the universe will show up for you, and it'll show up in really unexpected ways. So it's learning to have your eyes open and knowing what to learning to recognize the signs that are very clearly put in front of you, so it's wonderful when things really start to come together, and of course it's not linear, because life isn't linear. We discussed this last week. So, there might be times where you're making heaps and heaps of progress and then you'll have a flat couple of weeks. But again, it's all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. And, no, nothing you do in life is going to is going to happen overnight. It's all bit by bit and it's increments, and the importance of acknowledging your wins when you have those wins. I can't overestimate the importance of that. But not just that, Tim. Like when you're feeling good, it's even more important to take that aligned action, because quite often in the past when I'd get through that kind of heaviness and I'd get to the other side and I'd feel great, I still wouldn't take any aligned action. So it's like, well, but now when I feel good, it's like, yeah, you feel great, but that's not a reason to take a holiday. You still need to actually do what you've got to do to show up. So, it's changing habits, atomic habits. See, that book always comes up. Such a great book.
And in the book, if I recall correctly, and I've heard this a lot now, that there's a dopamine hit when you do acknowledge that you've had some success. So it's anticipation of becoming successful, not becoming successful, the anticipation of success in something you're doing. Like it could be making a reel or it could be doing a post, knowing that, yeah, this is going to be good if I keep going. That actually boosts you up and keeps you going. And so, yeah, you're right. Humans see things in such a small scale. It's very hard for us to see things in long term. So we can have these walking through the desert for a while bit where nothing's happening at all. But in the scheme of things, it's just a very small part of nothing happening. And so then hopefully we have some action and something happens and we get a lead or whatever it is, and then we might fall flat again. But that in the scheme of things, if you compressed it, it'd be like, yeah, it's just a journey going upwards. As you said, long as you take action and do something.
Yeah, and that's the key. And it's about finding that balance. Excuse me. It's about finding that balance between knowing when to push yourself and knowing when to step back and go, actually, you know what? I need to take a day off. I need to not think about anything but rest, because quite often, I think because I have, in my own personal journey, I've let my depression and my anxiety basically steer my life. Any time that I've felt I really need to rest, I haven't in the past allowed, it's been difficult because I've associated that downtime with my depression and anxiety. And the good thing about this is that I'm actually learning how to differentiate between the two. Yeah. And how to find that balance between getting that rest and not caving in and taking and getting up and, shaking it off, and I learned this in my personal coaching too, is that physically getting up and jumping and shaking your body physically really it changes your nervous system, and doing breathing, all those things, all those tips and tricks that really help, really help you through those difficult times, those difficult moments. Anyone out there who has anxiety and depression, they know that darkness really, really well. And look, I'm here to tell you, as someone who's been feeling like this their entire life, there is a way forward. There is an absolute way forward through that, and there is an absolute light at the end of the tunnel. It's possible, much to my delight. How about you? What's your journey been like since starting, about mindset and all of that?
Yeah, it's in the troughs and the crests, the waves keep coming. Possibly, I've had it. I don't know why, but I've always had a fairly optimistic view of life going forward. And as I was saying before, knowing that I can probably accomplish most things if I just keep going has always it's changed my mindset to one of, I'll accomplish this if I keep going and take the actions and just ride through those lows. And so I think that's where you get very comfortable about, and I'm, very comfortable about having a day off where you're not doing anything necessarily, because, we all know that actually this is where creativity and magic comes sometimes, is not doing anything.
Yeah.
And you can, maybe burn yourself out. It's a harsh way of putting it in terms of constantly grinding in the hustle. But, that doesn't work. People talk about hustle, 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 but, as a matter of interest, that's kind of fallen off in a certain way. People don't talk about it as much because they realize it's wrong. Because at the same time, people talk about that sleep and rest and health is important too. So you can't do all that. And your creativity and for want of a better word, excellence at whatever you're doing becomes when you look after yourself and take care of yourself. Eat properly, have the rest, look after your mental health. And that's in a way, that's the hardest part of running a business or anything in life, probably, is looking after yourself, because we're not really traditionally taught to do that. It's more do it, and especially as you know, as a mum, it's particularly hard for mums. They're taught to look after everybody else, the kids and the husband and everyone else, their partners. Little different for dads, but we have our own version of that, which is probably go out and kill yourself, have a heart attack working to bring the money in. But none of that is about looking after ourselves particularly. It's about looking after other people.
That's right.
Yeah, you can be successful. Obviously, plenty of successful people do that, but maybe success in one part of their life instead of all the rest of it. And you're going to die or have a heart problem or whatever it is, or have diabetes, but you're making lots of money. What's the point? And that's a big wake up call for a lot of people. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any of those sort of issues. I do work on my health a lot. I have done. I've been a personal trainer several times in life, and what I mean is I've retrained myself and rejoined the personal training industry and had my own gym. And so that's just been a thing that to me is so totally normal, natural, that you should do. So I've been lucky that my parents weren't particularly not healthy, but not exercise driven people. So I don't know quite where I got that from, but it's almost like that side of me is off the table. I don't have to worry about that side. I do need confidence in the business I'm in. So, and this is the ethical affiliate. So to try and drive myself in a business that I'm not sure about, or I'm not convinced it's not a little bit scammy. I struggle with that, and I've struggled with that off and on in various businesses over the years, and so I'm not motivated when I think, I don't know, I'm not sure about what the product is here or whether it's any good, or are we just selling a product so other people can sell a product so they can sell a product and no one is really getting any value from that?
Yeah.
That makes some money, but that's probably the thing will hit me the most, that will stop me doing something if I feel that there's something against my values.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's I think probably you've nailed the reason why we even started this in the first place. Because, you know, times are changing, and the only way we can really make an impact is by the choices that we make, and going into business and aligning, for me personally, going into business and aligning myself with a product that is actually ethical. That is how I make my impact, and helping and empowering others to do the same. That is, to me, the pinnacle of being an ethical affiliate. And the more people that actually jump on board to do that, the more impact that we make on the world. And, you know, it is easy to go down the road, and I've caught myself doing this over and over again. It's easy to go down the road and, you know, pick something up for $10 or $15 that, is going to end up fodder for the floor and the rubbish, just to get that instant gratification of buying something and taking it home. But, these days I'll look at that thing and I'll go, actually, I'm going to go online and I'm going to look for something that was made, or something that I need that is actually tied to someone who's either made it themselves or is ethically sourced. And so that is what I want to feed, I don't want to be that just as a business owner, but also as a consumer. Yeah. So I get what you're saying in terms of the scammy thing. And I have a little story to tell. I remember last week in our podcast where I said, always ask somebody if they want to have a conversation if you're not sure about it. Now, I had someone crossed my path who was really wanting me to invest in cryptocurrency. And, cryptocurrency is a very real thing. It's not a fake thing, but there's a lot of scams out there. So you have to be super, super careful. And so I said, yeah, look, I want to find out more about it, but I want to have a face-to-face conversation. Can we FaceTime? Because there are a lot of scams out there, and I just need to make sure that the person I'm speaking to is a real person. I need to see your face. And they came back with a list of reasons why that couldn't happen. And that was exactly when I knew, no, you're fake, you're scam. So I said, thank you, no thanks, blocked them. And lo and behold, in my business chat, one of my business associates wrote down, be mindful because these people are sending out friend requests and they're wanting people to invest. And it was exactly that person. So it's just like, yes, that's how that's a really good way of being able to weed out the scammers. Because, and after a while, I think you kind of get to know whether something's scammy or not, pretty quickly if you put those certain things in place. Yeah.
They all use similar tactics, don't they? It's,
Oh, absolutely, they do. Yeah, and they're super pushy.
Facebook or whatever it is, and how you going? How's your day? I mean, it's like, that's just not how you start a conversation with a total stranger. So,
yeah,
so true. Well, what you're saying before, it reminds me of this thing where you should try and follow your passion in business or in life, because that's the thing that, if we're passionate about non-scammy type businesses and ethical. And so that makes it so much easier to keep going and create the business you want or the life you want when you're totally aligned with your values.
Oh, absolutely.
Banging ourselves against a wall in some ways when we're doing something. And a lot of people, it's hard to actually realize something sometimes when it's not aligned with your values, but there's an uncomfortable feeling there. And people can go for years, just working for the wrong company perhaps, and this is why a lot of people hate their jobs. And that's a harsh word, but they don't like their jobs because they're really not aligned at all with what's true to them, what's important to them. And to drive yourself, because we're talking about mindset, to drive yourself in a business to succeed, it's so easy, and you're not driving yourself at the end when you're doing something you love to do. And everything
that's right.
I'm not saying everything's in flow perfectly, but most of the time it is. It's like, this is great. I'm helping people. In our case, it's a healthy product as well. It's like, what's not to love about that, and what's not to love about talking about it?
Absolutely. And look, one of the best things about this is that, and I will probably go into this in another episode because I could talk about it forever, is one of the things when we talk about mindset, one of the things I really had to wrap my head around is who am I? What are my values? How do I show up as myself? And, it's reconnected me with my art. It's reconnected me with my music, and learning how to look inward and find out who I am as a person is new territory, right? As it is for others, because, look, we've been taught so well to show up for others, but we haven't really been taught to show up for ourselves. Yeah. So this whole journey of being able to look inward and really connect with who you are as a person, and that having to be an essential part of your business, I've never experienced it before. So I've had to really work on shifting my mind to thinking, well, actually, this is important, because, with the things that I love in the past, I've said, oh, why are you wasting your time on this? That inner voice, why are you wasting your time? This isn't going to pay your bills, blah, blah. Well, actually, now it is. Now it is going to pay my bills, right? Because what I'm doing and what I'm bringing forward and showing other people, right, is what's going to drive my business. And never thought I'd be in that position in life, never.
But kind of obvious in retrospect.
Of course. But, you're used to working for other people who want to take for corporations who want to take as much as they can from you and give as little as possible. Whereas in this business paradigm, it's actually the opposite. You've got to give yourself as much as you can and really work on yourself and really connect with yourself in order for your business to flourish, right? Because, not only like we're in affiliate marketing, but it's also attraction marketing. And attraction marketing is about not recruiting people. You're not going out selling something, but you're actually living your life the way you want to live it. So that when people look at you and go, oh my God, how are you doing this? Well, here, let me show you,
Yeah.
you know? And even though there's a formula, within that formula, you get to discover the very essence of who you are and what makes you happy and what drives you.
That's the
And I
secret.
love that.
Isn't that the secret? The secret is be yourself.
Absolutely. Be yourself.
But it's not easy, as you just said, but
No, no. And look, you know, one of the things that well, another thing that I really love is that I mean, you can go out there and be an unethical affiliate, you know, and you can go out there and make a lot of money, but making the conscious choice to go, you know what? I want something that is going, I want to be a part of a movement that is going to impact this world and counteract all the horror, right? Because we've got to put some good stuff into the world. There's too much horror out there. And as far as I'm concerned, the powers that be that have raped and pillaged this earth have been in charge for way too long. And I think people such as you and I, it's our time to take control. And this is the very avenue from which we can do it. And when you align yourself with products that fit into those values, you can't lose. You just keep pushing and plugging away at it. You can't lose. I know that by the time I retire, my government's not going to be supporting me. My business will be, you know? So it's a
the world,
win-win as far as I'm concerned.
the world is certainly changing, and I think the more that people like ourselves can show others that there's actually a different way of doing things. It's like people are waking up and going, "Oh, I didn't know you could actually, be an online business person without scamming." Like it's
Exactly.
such a weird thing. People just don't see that it's possible. And obviously some people do, but a lot of people think that it's all scammy or it's all this and it's all that because it kind of has been, to a large extent. And,
Yeah.
it's a perfect
Yes.
avenue. Unfortunately, like I think we talked about it last time, was the days of old when the medicine shows are around. It's just another venue. It's no different from what it's been in the last 200 years. There's always some sort of channel for people to be unethical in.
We're just moving with the times.
It's just people are able to reach more people and rip them off, which is why
Yeah.
we have the scammers you were talking about and the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and all that sort
Mhm.
of. But there's also a lot of other stuff which doesn't get the publicity because let's face it, the media love this side of it.
They do.
Underlying stuff where there's actually a lot of good being done, and this is what the podcast is about, as you said.
Absolutely. And look, you know, my brother is one of the skeptics, right? And he's always ringing me up with warnings. And I tell you what, I absolutely love those conversations. I love it because I know what I'm involved in is so real and so ethical and holds so much hope that whenever he comes to me with any concerns, I'm able to just snap out an answer without even thinking about it, and I love that. And he says, oh, sorry, I don't mean to be, negative. And I'm like, no, bring on the conversations. The more questions you ask, the better it is. And if it's something I don't know the answer to, I'll go and find it. And that right there is the difference between ethical, someone who's real and authentic and transparent to someone who isn't, because if to those that aren't, you're going to hear crickets.
Yeah, interesting. And doesn't that give you because we talk about mindset, doesn't that give you an interesting insight into people's mindset when they ask those?
Absolutely. 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 And, look, he's an old school dude. He's about 6 years older than me. So, he's used to bricks and mortar. And I think it's interesting how I feel that I know that as he sees my success evolve, that will in turn really change his mind and see that this is a very real thing. Now, look, this kind of thing's not for everybody, right? Not everyone wants to be an affiliate marketer, and that's okay. It's like not everyone wants to be a surgeon, not everyone wants to, work in a supermarket. Everyone is designed for different things. But the fact that this new business paradigm is there, and it's there for someone like myself who wants to look after their family, who wants to reconnect with their art, who wants to be able to buy a house, someone like me who has no formal qualifications, the fact that I'm able to actually get out there and make a go of it, oh God, it's fantastic. And the best thing about it is that I support other people doing the same, So when they come up to me and go, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm freaking out," it's like, you know what, babe? It's okay. This is all part of the journey. I got you. Let's just break it down, And I love it. I love it.
It's a fascinating journey. So what are you reading at the moment? What are you listening to that help you on the journey?
Oh, okay. Right. Well, look, I have a habit of going back to my books. Like I said, I've got a few books that I'm reading at the moment. I just finished "You Are a Badass at Making Money," and I love that. And what else am I reading? I'm starting a book called Think and Grow Rich.
Oh,
That's a challenging one. It's because it's an old book, and it was a book that was recommended in Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. But it's kind of quirky because there's a lot of, I think it was written in the 80s, written and recorded in the 80s. So, but it's really, really valuable. Again, it's all about mindset. Most of the books that I read are steeped in mindset. So the one I'm focusing on at the moment is Think and Grow Rich. And then after that, I'm going to go, oh, well, I'll reveal that when I read it. What about you?
Think and Grow Rich. I'll tell you, Think and Grow Rich is, as you know, a classic. It's
It's
a book you have to read. And I must admit, and there's another one which his name escapes me right now, but I'm about to reread it, which is a tough go because it's written in the colloquial language and the old language when women were, in the kitchen and men were doing this, and it's a struggle in that way. And of course, Think and Grow Rich also, especially if you're not American, talks about a lot of the industries that were around at the time and the railroads, things like that, and famous people of the time, which you would have probably heard of. But yeah, but it's a gold mine. It is a gold mine, and it's almost like it's worth studying. Almost every line in there is rich, and so yeah, I applaud you for doing that. It's great. I'd read it and listen to it as well, and then just return to it from time to time.
Yeah.
Always go back to that. So I'm reading again. Actually, am I reading it? I'm listening to it at the moment. I read it to start with. Jen Sincero, "You're a Badass at Making Money," which is you referred to. She is a writer, and she struggled for years. This book is all about mindset. And, we're going to sound boring after a while because everything is about mindset, I'll tell you. But she's a writer, and, of course, writers struggle with, making money, blah, blah, blah. And she had all this stuff going on in her head from, as we said, from society and parents and so on and more, that it's always going to be a struggle. There's no money in it. She's never going to be good enough. And she was literally living in, I think she said she's living in an alleyway in a bedroom, and she said, one of her dreams was to be near the surf, and she was, but nobody knew that she was actually basically living in an alleyway in a one-room house with a bedroom and everything in one room. And so, there was this conflict going on about where she was. But her journey, and she's a hilarious writer, she's very funny. And I listened to her being interviewed just the other day, which is what brought me to listening to it again. And she said something I'm going to. Money is about freedom and opportunities, and that really struck me because it's being in the marketing business as well. It's like, well, yeah, how do you describe what we're doing? What is it about this book or this business that's going to change people's lives? And what are people searching for? And it is kind of like, yeah, what does freedom mean? But it is about freedom and the opportunities that come from that, and being able to wake up and go, okay, what am I going to do today? Because money's off the table. I've got that coming in. But, her book is, I can't go into it in detail, but it is constantly about rethinking the way you think about things, about money in particular. And it's made why it's worth reading is sometimes you read books like this and you go, yeah, but what are you doing now? And you think, I don't know whether these people are really actually that much more successful, but she's a phenomenal success. She's got courses. She's done several books in the theme, and she's a great interviewee, and she's just such a gem worth listening to, and has proved the point that she's changed her whole attitude and mindset around money. And it's like, if that doesn't convince anyone, I don't know what will. So a great book.
It is actually, I have to say, that book filled me with so much hope and energy. I loved it. And it's something that I'll go back to over and over.
Go-to book, isn't it? Where you just go, I just need another
Yeah.
book. And I can do this. So highly
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I guess that about wraps up our second podcast episode. How exciting. Oh my God. I didn't even think I'd ever get around to doing a single podcast episode, let alone two. Thank you so, so much, Tim. You're an absolute legend. I cannot wait to do episode number 3. We may or may not have a guest. We'll see. Could be a bit of a surprise, but we'll be covering lots and lots of things, much more material, much more stuff in mindset and strategies. And yeah, we totally look forward to speaking to, doing the podcast with you then for episode 3. Blah, 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 blah. Do you have anything you want to say before we?
No, I just thank you, Ida, for whatever universe put us together to talk about things. And
Indeed,
it's been a mind blowing. We will, I think, do a podcast on collaboration, because I've just to wind up quickly. It's a new thing for me, and I've just seen the power of it, and I think it's extraordinary what comes out of two like-minded people getting together and chatting about things, and an amazing future in business and so on. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to be bringing stuff to our listeners. So I'll speak to you next week.
yes. And if anyone out there who's listening wants any more information, just hit us up on our Facebook page, The Ethical Affiliate, and ask us any questions. You can reach out to either myself or Tim, and we'll be happy to have any conversations with you. And until next week, have a beautiful week, and can't wait to take episode 3 on the road. Beautiful.
Thank you, and goodbye from me.
See ya.